Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Bhakti Vartari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajajana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrahana Kacharya Astu Turasatat Sisima Divine Grace is Kampamacharya Shira Abacha Navindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Pram Se Kahau Se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadara Rasi Vasadi Si Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sisi Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Samakunda Radha Kunda Girikavadana Ki Jai Shavindavandam Ki Jai Simaya Punavadidam Ki Jai Gangamaya Yamunamaya Ki Jai Sumati Tosa Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the summer devotees, all glories to the summer devotees, all glories to the summer devotees, all glories to Siguranga Gauranga. So welcome everyone to 26nd Avenue, the very first temple of Srila Prabhupada, founder chair of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is the birthplace of the Hare Krishna movement. So today's text is text 1 of chapters 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, Bhagavad-gita as it is. Bhagavad-gita as it is. This book, it's a very powerful classical literature. It changes people. It changes people from, degraded life to to position people on highly elevated platform. It transforms, it transmutes hippies to happies and sadhus. This is a lived experience of so many people. So this is a qualitative statement. Okay? Yeah. So, text 1. Today, I'm having some problem with my throat. My camera is fully mature, Odramulam adasakam.
Odramulam adasakam.
Aswatam prahu avyayam.
Aswatam prahu avyayam.
Sadamsi yasya panani.
Sadamsi yasya panani.
Yastam veda saveda vit.
Yastam Veda Saveda Vit.
Sri Bhagavan Huvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Huvacha.
Udramulam adasakam.
Udramulam adasakam.
Aswatam prahu avyayam.
Aswatam prahu avyayam.
Chadamsi yasya pranani.
Chadamsi yasya pranani.
Yastam veda saveda vid.
Yastam Veda Saveda Vit.
Sri Bhagavan Huvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Huvacha.
Udramulam adasakam.
Udramulam adasakam.
Aswatam prahu avyayam.
Ashwatam prahu avyayam.
Chadamsi yasya panani.
Chadamsi yasya pranani.
Yastam veda saveda vit.
Yastam Veda Saveda Vit.
Last. Sri Bhagavan Huvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Huvacha.
Udram Mulam Adasakam
Udvamulam Adashakam
Aswatam Prahu Avyayam
Ashwatam Prahu Avyayam
Shadamsi Yasya Pranani
Chadamsi Yasya Pranani
Yastam Veda Saveda Vid.
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
And someone try?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Udva Mulam Adashakam
Udvamulam Adashakam
Ashwatam Prahu Avyayam
Ashwatam Prahu Avyayam
Chadamsi Yasya Paranani
Chadamsi Yasya Pranani
Yastam Veda Savedavid.
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Can someone else, any other male devotee try?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Urva Mula Madashakam
Udvamulam Adashakam
Ashvatam Prahu Avyayam
Ashwatam Prahu Avyayam
Chadamsi Yasya Parnani
Chadamsi Yasya Pranani
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Ladies,
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Udamula Madashakam
Udvamulam Adashakam
Asvayam Prahu Avyayam
Asvayam Prahu Avyayam
Chandamsi Yasya Parnani
Shadamsi Yasya Pranani
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Yasyam Veda Saveda Vid. Any other ladies?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Urva Mulam Adashakam
Udvamulam Adasakam
Ashwatam Prahu Avyayam
Aswatam Prahu Avyayam
Shandamsi Yasya Parnani
Chadamsi Yasya Pranani
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
So word for word translation, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Word for word translation by word for word translation and translation by His Divine Graces Confounder Acharya Srila Prabhupada K.J. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan
The
Uvacha
Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
The Supreme Personality of God said,
Udra Mulam,
Udvamulam
with roots above,
with roots of
Adaha,
Adama
downwards,
downwards,
Sakam,
Shakam
branches,
branches,
Aswatam,
Aswatam
a banyan tree,
Abayan
tree,
Prahu,
Prahu
he said,
is said,
Avyayam,
Avyayam
eternal,
eternal,
Shadamsi,
Sadamsi
the Vedic hymns,
the
Vedic
Vedic
hymns
Yasya,
Yasya
of which,
of which
Panani,
Parnani
the leaves,
the leaves,
Yaha,
Yaha,
anyone who,
anyone who,
Tam,
Tam,
that,
that,
Veda,
Veda,
knows,
knows,
Saha,
Saha,
he,
he,
Veda Vit,
Veda Vit,
the knower of the Vedas.
the knower of the Vedas.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Please kindly responsibly repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
The Supreme Personality of God has said,
it is said that
and it said that
there is an imperishable banyan tree
there is an imperishable banyan tree
that has its roots upward
that has roots upward
and its branches down,
and its branches down,
and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns.
and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns.
One who knows this tree
One who knows this tree
is the knower of the Vedas.
is the knower of the Vedas.
So listen to Srila Prabhupada's purport. After the discussion of the importance of Bhakti Yoga, one may question, Bhakti Yoga, keep in mind, the science of devotion to Krishna. One may question, what about the Vedas? It is explained in this chapter that the purpose of Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Purpose statement. Therefore, one who is in Krishna consciousness who is engaged in devotional service already knows the Vedas. The entanglement of this material world is compared here to a banyan tree. For one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from one branch to another, to another. The tree of this material world has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns meant for elevating oneself are called the leaves of this tree. The tree's roots grow upward because they begin from where Brahma is located, the topmost planet of this universe. If one understands this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. This process of extrication should be understood. In the previous chapters, it has been explained that there are many processes by which to get out of the material entanglement. And up to the 13th chapter, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment to the material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. The root of this material existence grows upward. This means that it begins from the total material substance from the topmost planet of the universe. From there, the whole universe is expanded with so many branches representing the various planetary systems. The fruits represent the results of the living entities' activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Now, there is no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward, but there is such a thing. Now the Prabhupada is saying, there is no lived experience about this tree. There is no lived experience. But he said, however, this is real. So this analogy is very important to us. We'll come to that. Let's finish the main purport. That tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. Prabhupada is proving his point. He said, although there is no lived experience, but you can find this tree beside the bank of the river. You go to the bank of the river. How many of you have been to the bank of the river? I was born in the riverine area, so I know about rivers. What Prabhupada is talking about is I'm very familiar with it. You go to the bank of the river, you look down by the bank of the river, you see all the trees. Their roots are upside or up. The leaves and the branches, they are down. So it's a horrible reflection. But that refraction or whatever is caused by by that substance, the medium, the water. So what do you want to take? You want water or you want reality? We have to choose that. That is the thing that we have to make it. We have to make a choice. So Prabhupada mentioned that tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with their branches down and roots up. In other words, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. Analogy is very intriguing, philosophical analogies are very intriguing because they give you some direct perception of reality. I mean, it is not like abstract science that everything is just. In philosophy, you can see some of the things walking around. It's like management. You see some of the things. You go to the office, you see the things walking around, and you study it. It becomes easy. This one that you go and crack your brain, you don't see anything, and you just speculate. No, it's not like that. So, This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire. What's your desire? What's your desire? Just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off this relationship with it. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. Also, have relationship with it. This tree, I say have relationship because Prabhupada uses male gender in most of the Vedic writings. They use male gender. Sometimes people question us. You're gender biased, man. What is happening? But the soul is actually Prakriti. Krishna is Purusha. All of us are Prakriti. So no one is competing with Krishna about his position. And therefore, yeah, we may be male or females or non-gender or whatever. But the point is that, we are Prakriti. So that solves the problem of bias, our purported biased gender. So, this tree being the reflection of the real tree is an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahman to be the root of this material tree, and from the root, according to Sankhya philosophy, come Prakriti, Purusa. Then the three modes, the three gunas. Then the 5 gross elements, Pancha Mahabhuta. Then the 10 senses, Dasendriya, mind, etc. In this way, they divide up the whole material world into 24 elements. The Brahman is the center of all manifestations. Then this material world is a manifestation of the center by 180 degrees, and the other 180 degrees constitute the spiritual world. The material world is a perverted reflection, so the spiritual world must have the same variegatedness, but in reality. The Prakriti is the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and the Purusa is the Supreme Lord himself. And that is explained in the Bhagavad-gita. Since this manifestation is material, it is temporary. The reflection is temporary, for it is sometimes seen and sometimes not seen. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected is eternal. The material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows the process, he actually knows the Vedas. One who is attracted by the ritualistic formulas of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. He does not exactly know the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the Supreme Personality of God himself, is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. Om Agyana Tiberanasya, Jana Jana Salakaya, Sakso Manitam, Jena Tasmai, see Gurubena Maha. So Chaitanya Manobhistam, Safitam Jena Bhutali, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadati Swapadantikam. Vanchakalpatari cha, Kripasunabhya Evacha, Paritanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namo. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhara, Sivasadi, Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Pistaya Bhutali, Srimati Bhaktivedanta, Swami Gitanam. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani, Kacharini, Nimisisi, Swami Vana, Kasachari, Satari. So, this Vedic literature, Bhagavad-gita is just part of the Vedic literature. Bhagavad-gita is it's just part of the Mahabharata. The Vedic literature is the sum and substance of all that we need to be equipped with to be able to understand. The Vedic literature gives us an idea, it gives us an illumination about what to do with this material world, what to do with our bodies. The Vedic literature is like when you buy an electronic gasket, they give you a paper so that you know how to operate the machine. We have to press to put it on. We have to press to put it off. When to change the batteries. When to load and reload, activate, deactivate, whatever. It's like an app. Yeah. So, the purpose of these Vedas, Papa mentioned the purpose, is to know Krishna. And Krishna himself is mentioned in the Bhagavad-gita 15:15, or some, I think so. Yeah, that he is not just the purpose of the Vedas, he is the compiler of the Vedas. He is the knower of the Vedas. And by him the Vedas, by him the Vedas is to be known. In other words, if you read the Vedas, what's the conclusion of the Vedic literature? Krishna's true Bhagavan Swaya. So Krishna mentions in the Gita, Veda vid, eva shaha. He said, I am the knower of the Vedas. I am the compiler of the Vedas. Essence of reading the Vedas purpose of reading the Vedas is to know Krishna. If we miss that point, finish. We're wasting our time. A bunch of energy has been invested, but it's just a bunch of waste of time. And so, it's so easy to be distracted. When you read the Vedic literature, it's so easy, especially, if you read the Upanishads. And if even you read the Puranas, the Puranas, they are in different modes. There are 18 Puranas, 6 in the mode of goodness, 6 in the mode of passion, 6 in the mode of ignorance. So where are you going to start? And what are you going to conclude after you start? This is the problem. Oh, I know the Vedas. Oh, I've read the Vedas. What do you know about the Vedas? What's the essence of the Vedas? Who wrote the Vedas? What is the purpose of the Vedas? Purpose statement. If even you're writing a PhD, you have to have a purpose statement. Your thesis must have a purpose statement. After establishing a problem, after generating a gap in the literature, you have to generate a purpose statement. So what is the purpose of your reading the Vedas? Studying the Vedas. What is the purpose? What are you searching for? What is the problem you want to solve here that others have not solved? So this is where it is important, like the verse that Greek area were leading devotees in reciting, in recitation, that vidi pranipatena pariprasnena seve upadikshanti te jnanam jnanina tattadashi. You want to know the Vedas? You want to know Krishna? You need to meet professors who are specialists in that field. You need to meet some spiritual professors. Because if you want anything you want to study geology, you want to study law, you want to study medicine, you have to work under some professors. Is it true? Yeah, there are so many people who are studying, doing PhD, so you can refute me if I say something wrong. Yeah. You want to, whatever profession you want to be, if you are employed, you have to undergo some orientation. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your degree, it doesn't really matter. Once you're employed in a new firm, a new industry, they have to take you around. That's called orientation. Someone has to train you to do the job. And when we talk about spiritual life, we don't need anyone to train us to do the job. We know it all. Okay, good for you. Go ahead. Go ahead. So, this is a highly elevated position. But that elevation, we don't need it. in devotional service. In devotional service, we really need to understand that this world is a perverted reflection of reality. So our senses are a perverted reflection of reality. Our mind, our intelligence is a perverted reflection of reality. We can't depend on all of these factors. Otherwise, we will always get it wrong. We'll be using the wrong formula to solve a complex problem. And at the end of the 3 weeks we're using and solving the problem, we get it wrong. Because we start with the wrong formula. So analogies are very important in spiritual philosophy. You read the Srimad Bhagavatam, you read the Bhagavad-gita, you see Prabhupada gives lots of analogies. So this analogy of the banyan tree, comparing the banyan tree to the material world, is so illustrative. Because if you go to the bank of the river, you find that the trees you see by the bank of the river, they are upside down. So this material world is also upside down. The varicatedness is real, but it is temporary. If someone tells you, now there are a group of spiritualists who tell you, this material world is nitty-nitty, is nothing. No. It is real. Material world is real. The variegatedness is real. The enjoyment is real. There are two ways. What we want. We want to enjoy the senses, or want to, please Krishna senses. If you want to enjoy the senses, please go ahead. That's an option. So we cannot preach that, it's all Maya to enjoy the senses. No. Go ahead. It's a good thing, but when the reactions come, don't complain. Sometimes people think that this very religion is just too many complications, too many ordinances, so many edicts, rules, injunctions, and all this stuff. Yeah. But look at, we've been living in a society that we have been circumscribed for millions and millions of births. We don't complain. We don't complain. We just follow, is it? We follow. Hey, you have to drive on the right side. We don't complain to the police. Hey, cops, what are you talking about? I'm a citizen of this country. I was born here. I have to do my things according to how I want. Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Handcuff. Yeah, so it's so funny. We don't have police, we don't have cops in the spiritual world. Do you know that? Do you know that? You don't have a police system in the spiritual world. So this material world is a perverted reflection. The things that we adore so much in this material world, they are actually sources of entanglement. Yeah. Not only sources of entanglement or spiritually, but even materially, they create degeneration of our bodies. Is it true? No, if I'm saying something wrong, you can refute it. You can correct me. And therefore, when Prabhupada says this material world is a perverted reflection means, when in America, if someone says something and then says something, it's a pervert. It's like a curse. Yeah, I've seen this in social media. Someone says something and then another person says, pervert. It means you're crazy. You're far out, completely far out. Why this, why the differentiation? If everything is on one. So there's a sense of ethicality in the material world. There's a sense of morality. Otherwise, these laws will not be there. Where do we derive the laws? Road traffic edicts. You have to go to work. You have to dress in a particular way. Why don't you just And why don't people just go into the street nude? There are nudist homes, but why do you go into the street nude? There are laws. If you do that, someone will help you. So, the bottom line is that we are governed, we are ruled since time immemorial based on principles. So the very principles are also helping to facilitate our extrication from this imprisonment. The material world is a place where we have been jailed. But there are so many facilities in this jail, so we forgot that we actually been jailed. We forgot completely. Because, see, in American prisons, you have access to newspapers. Some people, they even watch TV. Oh yeah? In developing countries, you don't have TV to watch. I mean, you're a prisoner. No. You just have labor and torture. Oh yeah? But they are all prisons. So, this banyan tree with the roots up, the leaves down. I mean, just the description alone is an eyesore, isn't it? It's an eyesore. They said the trees. What? How does it grow? How does it develop flowers? How does it develop fruits? Will that ever happen? No, it is not going to happen, man. Because those who have studied, say, ethnobotanists, they understand that, the tree, the root has to be, go down to be able to, get some nutrients. So if the root is up, there's trouble here, man. But that is a description that we find ourselves regarding our position in the material world. And so Prabhupada basically emphasized in a purport the need for us to cut off our attachments. Attachments is like a virus. Sometimes any type of virus could be very devastating. It's a very small substance, a very small, minute entity, but it's very devastating. You can cause so much of destruction to the organs and, terminate your being. And so attachment is like a virus. It separates us from our spiritual yearnings, our spiritual aspirations, our spiritual motivations, the attachment to this material world and its glaring manifestations. They destroy all our anticipations and hopes to rejoin Krishna. And that is why the Vedic system is set up in such a way that what we cannot do now, we gradually have to cultivate devotional service and come to the point that later part of our life we are able to focus and still become eligible to go back to God. And so people need to just understand that the analogy of this banyan tree, and you find in very literature, analogies play very, very important roles. Sometimes people read scriptures and even the analogies used in giving some explanations, people take it to be literary statements. Because they don't understand that analogies are simply strategies to be able to give some explication on certain issues, to create some insight, to give some illumination. But they do their work perfectly well. And in some cases they could give us a very positive insight. In some cases they could create some type of disgusting feelings that we don't want to do what we anticipated to do. That's the work of analogies. And so the banyan tree is very befitting here, because we see the banyan tree, even the seed is so small, but it grows up to be just a gigantic tree that provides shade, shelter, on a very grand scale. Just small seed. Just see the potency of the spiritual energy. See the potency of Lord Krishna. Small banyan tree. Small banyan seed produces a gigantic banyan tree. And so, for us, our experiences in this material world are just part of this illusory banyan tree. We jump from one branch to the other to try to exploit the resources of this banyan tree, and we end up on the banyan tree. That's where we end up. So we've been doing this for so many lifetimes. Brahman, Brahmi, Tikuni, Bhagwan, Jiva. We have been moving from one Brahmanda to the other, from one branch of the banyan tree to the other, trying to exploit the resources of material nature for many lifetimes. And sometimes we are put in a situation that we get really choked up. We eat the fruits, and then sometimes the seed of the fruit goes into the respiratory tract, and then we start coughing. These are the obstacles we face in the process of trying, to exploit the resources of this banyan tree, trying to exploit material nature. And so, if we deem appropriate that this is not worthy, and sometimes deep explanations can really create a revolution in our lives. If we don't have deep understanding of even some things that we are doing and we relish so much, if we don't have deep understanding, we just continue to do it. If someone gives up some deep illustration and deep elucidation, we become disgusted. That same thing will be disgusted. Is it true? Look at you. Yes. Because I was explaining some things to her and she was surprised. Yeah. Deep understanding. Even research, one of the prime objectives, if you want to do any research, one of the prime ideas is that you want to have a deeper understanding of that substance, of that topic, on that theme. Because everybody may have some peripheral view. But the idea of research is to have to go deeper, get the essence, go deeper, explore. And when you do that exploration, there's some things that could baffle you. The things you take for granted that now you discover could really baffle you. Either they will motivate you to become more intense, or they will discourage you to be completely detached from what you've been doing for millions and millions of lifetimes. So detachment is not so easy, because the virus sometimes it goes just beyond the skin, beyond the blood, and goes into the marrow. And the bone marrow, oh my God, it could be very challenging. Of course, these days there are so many pharmaceutical industry that is very advanced, and even the so-called diseases that those who have so-called cure. One of my friends was telling me a story. He came to see me. He heard I'm going to India, so he came to see me. And he was explaining some things to me, how he went to do some work for some guy. He's a doctor. And then he had something like an injury, and the doctor brought some one tablet to him, and then he said, you can take this. And he said, but this is not in the market. You take this. And he took it in a few hours' time. The whole thing is gone. The whole thing is gone. So even the so-called diseases that don't have apparent cure, that's another story. Completely another story. Okay. But But this is the nature of this material world. That there are solutions to our problems. We may not have access to the solutions. We will not have access to the solution. Or the solution is just being kept aside so that we don't have access to it. We can't blame anybody. We have to blame ourselves why we are in this place, which is characterized by cheating, hypocrisy, and all the ills of society that goes along with it. And so the virus of attachment is what keeps us in this very material world. That is the disease we have. And those things that we are even very much attached to, we don't have an idea. We don't have deep understanding of those things. If we have deep understanding, we will, within a moment, become disgusted with it. We don't have deep understanding. But this is where we find ourselves what to do. Except we have someone who has to revolutionize our lives. Except we allow the very literatures which are capable of revolutionizing our lives to be able to have a deeper understanding of those things that increase the that multiply the virus that is it. Because see, virus they keep multiplying, you know, they keep increasing. They are there, so they just like they reproduce. Okay, you think you're the only one who procreates? So we have to be aware that detachment comes with practice. Detachment, Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna mentioned, a weapon of becoming freed from this material illusion comes with practice and detachment. So if you chant Hare Krishna today and tomorrow you don't chant, you're doing more harm than good to yourself. You're not practicing regularly, and so you're not going to sustain that liberational consciousness. And it's like you go down and up and down. The graph is like this. P. You go like this. Instead of just going like this. Or it becomes an ogive. It just goes. You go. Ogive graph. So, you're a mathematician. Am I correct? Ogive. Anyway, so we have to put our practice to enhance detachment in a sustainable way. Means that we just have to keep going, and keep increasing in quality and in quantity, and then it just keeps going up until, before we know, the whole viruses in our system, they're gone. They're gone. And then someone offers you even a drink or meat or free sex. He said, I'm coming. I think when I went to Africa, I was giving a class. I was just listening to one of my classes the other day. I realized that when I went to Africa 1 year, I was giving a class in one temple, and I was mentioning how people think that sex is free in America. I say, yeah, it seems like it's free, but it's not free, because once there's a mistake of pregnancy, you are a debtor for the rest of your life. You pay alimony, you pay child care. So it seems that it's free, but it's not really. Nothing is free in this world, Nothing is free. Even the sanctification is not free. So we have to know what is keeping on this material world. Attachment. And we all have. One brahmachari, he was just attached to coupons. Coupons. You can buy clothes and use as and get many. You can buy cotton clothes and get many coupons from it as much as you want. But attachment doesn't look at that. Copings. Attachment will be there. It's not about a limousine. What is it that you are attached to? Krishna can take that away. If it's someone, for instance, I was very much like, when I was a kid, I was very much attached to family members. And then some things happened in my life, and then I just realized, wow, okay, here you go. Good. So I learned my lesson before even I met devotees. Yes, when I met devotees, it's just a simple thing for me that, this I already realized this before I'm seeing what Prabhupada is mentioning here. So sometimes the lived experiences might be negative, but they are very helpful to align ourselves with the spiritual tradition. Because whatever Prabhupada mentions in his purport, they have a lot of meaning for our everyday reality. So yeah, this attachment is a big problem. Sometimes it's not even a big thing. So just even a needle, you could be attached to a needle. You can also buy a needle, okay? If attachment is there, it's just a problem. So the essence of spiritual life is to create detachment. So I become aloof. Be ready to lose even the things that you cherished most. Because the things come, and the person who brings it will also take them away. Chitraketu has this typical experience. He was looking for a child. He got a child. And, the child died. And there was big devastation. Big devastation. And there was so much to have the child. And then the child died. So we read these stories in the Bhagavatam, but it's not just reading the stories. We should imbibe the culture of that story, or of the stories. We should live the culture of those stories. Otherwise, when it happens to us, we will think, why me, Krishna? Why me? I've been chanting Krishna for 40 years, 30 years. How could this happen to me? Also, Chitraketu, he was not a devotee, right? He was. So, it is important. Attachment. The point here is attachment. The things you don't have, you're very detached. The things you have, you can become attached. A car, you may have a very, brand limousine. You call friends over, you make some party. And then the next day you went on the highway, and there was a big accident. Everything is gone. One of my mentees, she sent me a message the other day, and she called me like 5 times on the phone, and I was not there because this never happened. So when I woke up, I was trying to call back the house and called her younger brother, her older sister, and no one was able to give me a vivid, returning my call. Later, the younger brother from London, he responded. He called me up. So I asked, sister is okay? Because she called me 5 times, and I was not there. He said, oh, Mara, something happened. She was driving, and Mom was in the car, and then they had an accident. The car is gone. But they were not injured. So one can say, what? I've been chanting for all these years. I keep all the principles. No illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating. I follow all this. I go to temple every Sunday. I go for all the sansangs. Why me? My only car. I don't have many. Only one. Is there anything wrong in having only one car? One nice one? But it's gone. So, what happens is not so important. The effect that it creates is the problem. Because we live in the material world, and even bad things happen to good people. And so detachment is very important for our lives, so that when we have a nice car and we lose it, we don't kill ourselves. This is the point. Don't kill yourself, because material world is very temporary. Things come and go. Otherwise, we allow the virus of attachment to completely demoralize us, and we become stagnant in our spiritual life. So this banyan tree, it's not just a good thing, but that's where we are living in. That's why we've been hopping from one branch to the other. That's where we have been trying to chew the leaves, use the twigs, eat the fruits, and chip like birds all the time. So Krishna, he is the know of the Vedas. Bottom line, Krishna is the know of the Vedas. And if we want to understand Krishna, we study the Vedas, we should know the essence, the purpose of studying the Vedas. Vedanta Krit, Veda Vid, Eva Chaham, Krishna said. By the Vedas I am to be known. Krishna is the compiler of the Vedas. He is the knower of the Vedas. If we read the Vedas and we don't grab this essence, we miss the whole number of years we've been using to study the Vedas. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions, challenges on this point? Yes.
I want to know, how do we become detached and remain detached?
How do we become detached and remain detached? Yeah, that's a good point. First, we have to have fundamental knowledge about who we are. Because if we don't know who we are, we will always act on the emotions, on the senses, on the mind. We will always act on the impulse of the emotions, the mind, and the senses. If we don't know our pristine identity, it is very difficult to become detached. That's why I was talking about insightful information, knowledge, deep understanding. Deep understanding. If we have deep understanding, that is insight, and we can figure out things. We can make proper analysis when we face some challenges. If we don't have that deep insight of our pristine identity, we tend to act according to the dictates of the mind, the senses, and therefore there is no question of detachment. So detachment comes first with knowledge, at least theoretical knowledge of who we are. If we have that theoretical knowledge and we have deeper understanding in analysis, in Sankhya, then even the things that we've been doing for so many years and we have so much of pleasure in doing it, someone breaks it down and gives analysis, you become disgusted. Immediately you become disgusted. Yeah. You become disgusted. The same thing you've been doing and enjoying for so many years. You become disgusted on the spot. That's the power of knowledge. Without that, there's no question of detachment. Yeah. And so we don't listen to people and tell them. I mean, I have seen this in a number of places. People talking, preaching to new people who come, and then they just tell them some nasty things. Nasty in the sense that you just confront people. They don't know anything about spiritual life. You just tell them, we don't have illicit sex. We don't gamble, and we don't do this. There are so many positive things you can tell the person. You can have personal interaction with the person in a loving way, instead of just confronting them. In other words, you're telling the person, look at me properly. I'm better than you, You're sinful, and I'm a saint. How would that bring any type of good relationship? And he never had Prabhupada never did that. Right? Listen to his lectures right here in this very room. Listen to Prabhupada's lectures. He just encouraged people to chant Hare Krishna, give them prasadam, become fatherly to them, friendly with them, love them. And then later they began to bring, some stuff for Prabhupada. They began to render some service. They established very, good relationship, loving relationship that they never experienced even with their parents. That's why some of them they became very detached from their opulence, their family opulence, and rather plug into Prabhupada's movement and help Prabhupada. So again, it boils down to knowledge. If we have deep knowledge, if you don't have even deep knowledge about your future, what you want to do, why you need to do it, you will just be satisfied working as a high school diploma holder. Because you can work in the factory and get some money when you're young, okay? If even you don't have a diploma, you can work in the factory and get some money, good money. But when you're 70 years, let's see whether you're going to be working in the factory hard. So knowledge, projection into the future, knowledge about who you are. So spiritual life is also that detachment comes with knowledge. If you have deep understanding of our very being, of our metaphysics, then yeah, something's happened. You will have to rationalize with your intelligent quotients, or if you just depend on your social intelligence alone, it may not also work very nicely. Because people may have very high social intelligence, but they don't have emotional intelligence. So that is an implication. Yeah, so bottom line is that knowledge. First we have to have deep knowledge, and then we can make proper analysis, analytical evaluations, and make some proper conclusions. Any other points or comments? Yes.
Is there any good type of attachment?
Yeah. The good types of attachment. Attachment to Krishna, attachment to the spiritual master. The good ones. But if you're attached to your spouse, attached to your boyfriend, they will jack you off one day, and then you're back to the road. Yeah, these are all, we have all experienced all this type of stuff, this type of relationships, right? You invest so much of your energy on somebody, and tomorrow, I've even seen people, they're married, and then they're going to have sex with his sister, with the wife's sister, put them in family way. I've seen those things. So, real love is not just about, scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. It becomes something like, it becomes like a body game. And then the end point is disappointments. Because when you come close, then you find out, all that glitters is not gold. I mean, like, you see some green field far away, and then you start pursuing it. And that's happened in a number of cases. I was just dealing with a particular case in South America, and it's so unfortunate. And that's why people need some guidance. So I told the person, look, you just need someone to guide you. Otherwise, you make very many wrong decisions, and someone is going to exploit you. You're a young woman, they will exploit you. Men are looking for people like you to exploit. And women also looking for people like you to exploit. So it's both ways. So this is a world where Bhakti says it's a world of cheats and the cheated. What does that mean? It's a place of exploitation. Whether we like it or not, it's a place of exploitation. So, good attachment, but back to the point. Good attachment is there. Attachment to hearing Krishna's message, attachment to chanting Krishna's name, attachment to the spiritual master, attachment to Vaishnava association. These are elements of attachment that could help to revolutionize our lives through raising our consciousness, reawakening of our consciousness. We're not saying that attachment is bad. The variable is the object of attachment. Attachment is a constant. The variable is the object of attachment. That determines where you are going. Yes, any comments? Yes, Babu?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj, for...
Thank you for thanking me.
So, theoretically, I understand that attachment is not good. I've been getting a lot of,
No, attachment is good. I just mentioned that.
well, I mean, bad attachment. That's what I mean.
Okay.
My question is, I have very bad, some
Bad
very
what?
bad customs. Like I go to bed really late sometimes.
I also go to bed really late.
And I used to smoke cigarettes also, and
I do
that's
smoke.
gonna be that's another one of my problems.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm really dying for a cigarette. What can but I know cigarettes are very bad for you. It's all over. It's all over everywhere. You know, it's in magazines, it's in,
Sure.
it's in TVs, all over the place. Even though I know that this is bad for me, among other things, and I know there's a whole body of information out there about these bad things, I'm still very attached to these. I still want to enjoy them.
Okay.
So what would be the best?
What to do? What to do? Go on a stretch goal. In management, we have what is called stretch goal. If you have an industry and you intend to generate $1 million per annum, stretch goal means you project to generate, say, $6 million. If you fail, at least you make $2 million. That is also applicable in spiritual life. See, Papa gave us a minimum of japa. Now, when we have a problem, we should not depend on our 16 rounds. When we have a problem, we should not depend on the 16 rounds. 16 rounds just makes us to become human beings. But in most cases, we're not even able to become human beings with 16 rounds. Because a human being is someone who uses their discriminate intelligence discriminately. But here, if we are not even able to use Pashena Pina Pashati, even after seeing, after hearing, we are not able to say, no, I'm not going to put my hand into this fire. Fire burns. I've seen it. It burned me before. I still put my hand inside it. We have a problem. I have a problem. Therefore, I need to go on stretch goals. I don't need to depend on 16 rounds. I have to do extra things. And the more we raise our consciousness, the more we become detached from our immoral inclinations. Because when the purity engulfs your consciousness or takes over, you become purified of those anarthas. These are called anarthas. So, you're a very sincere person. How many people will come into the open and say, Maharaj, these are my problems. I still smoke. Man, we are back to God. You're a very sincere person. You're a Brahmin. You're a Brahmin. You see, someone will be carrying a thread, they're full of lies, they're not sincere. They just, Brahmana Bandhus, friend of the Brahmanas. You are the real Brahmana. So you don't have a problem. Just go on stretch goals. Just take the date of today and the time I'm telling you this. Go on stretch goals. This problem, go on. I promise you this. Because you are a Brahmana. You're very sincere. 99% of people on the planet, they can't come to the public and accept their fault without even a request. Without a need for it. No. We like to hide our skeletons in the cupboard. So go on the stretch goal. If you be chanting 16 rounds, now you should go beyond that. You go far beyond that. And very quickly, just keep increasing it. With better quality of chanting. Set a proper japa when you're chanting. Listen to your japa. Possibly record your japa. So that you listen to it when you finish and hear your japa and see, make sure that you are you distantly pronounce all of the syllables, Hare, Krishna, all of them properly. And I bet you, this Ananta will be cleansed off. See, in this very room, one of the Papa disciples who became one of the translators and commentaries of the Goswami's books, he was not just a smoker, he was a drug addict. He will come here and just lie down, cross there, dead drunk, intoxicated with drugs. And people who are coming will just pass like this or pass like this. But he became a saint. He became a saint. Big scholar. You don't have a problem. Okay? So, in the absence of any other comments or questions, we'd like to adjourn this meeting. Or we'd like to call it we'd like to go to the next phase of this program, which is Kirtan. Thank you very much for participating in this Krishna consciousness.